Hello everyone, in this video I will mention 10 common problems that 2019 to 2025 Nissan Altima vehicles are prone to experience. Number 1. Rear camera failure. Some 2019 to 2024 models were recalled in the US due to an installation error in the rear camera harness or wiring. Opening and closing the trunk could cause the rear camera cables to break. A damaged harness or wiring may not send an image or send a blurry or distorted image to the infotainment screen. If the screen does not display the image correctly, it limits the driver's visibility when reversing, increasing the likelihood of a crash or running over a person or infant. The repair consists in checking the integrity of the wiring, rearranging it, and, if needed, replace the harness and rear camera. Number 2. Tire or rim failure. Some 2019 and 2020 S-Type model vehicles with factory-installed tires Continental Pro Contact TX size 215/60 R16 were recalled in the US as they could have a manufacturing defect. Overcuring the tires could cause the tire to prematurely crack at the tire casing or sidewall, experiencing a sudden loss of air. They could also experience partial or complete separation of the tread belt, increasing the possibility of a crash, causing serious injury to occupants or even death. The repair consisted in replacing the suspect tires in the affected vehicles with new tires that meet the quality specifications. Number 3. Fuel tank leak. The fuel pump retaining ring on some 2019 models equipped with 2.5-liter engine may not be fully seated. If the fuel pump retaining ring is loose, you could experience a leak of fuel and gases from the fuel tank located under the rear seat of the vehicle. The fuel vapors flowing into the cabin can cause bad odors, dizziness, and headaches to the occupants. At the same time, a fuel leak increases the risk of a fire when fuel comes into contact with a hot surface, causing serious damage or even death to the occupants. Checking the condition and integrity of the fuel pump retaining ring, replacing the seal or gasket with a new and improved one that meets the specifications, and, if necessary, replacing the fuel pump module solves this problem. Number 4. Brake light failure. Some 2019 models were recalled in the US because the brake light switch plate may not be positioned in the correct location, causing the brake light to remain on. If the brake light remains on, it could confuse other drivers, increasing the risk of a crash. The gear shift lever could also move out of the parking position without the brake pedal being pressed, causing the vehicle to roll freely, increasing the risk of a crash. The repair consisted in checking the operation and integrity of the switch in the suspect vehicles, and replacing the brake pedal if necessary. Number 5. Fuel leak in the fuel line. Some 2019 models were recalled in the US for a possible installation error of the retaining clip that connects the low-pressure fuel tube to the high-pressure fuel pump, which could leak fuel if not connected correctly. It can also cause it to rotate and disconnect completely, increasing the risk of an engine fire, causing serious damage or death to the occupants. Likewise, the vehicle's engine could shut off due to lack of fuel supply, increasing the risk of a crash. The repair consisted in checking, replacing, and correctly installing the retaining clips. Number 6. Steering tie rod nut loosens. The nut holding the steering tie rod may not have been properly tightened on the assembly line on some 2020 and 2021 models. If the steering tie rod nut becomes loose or falls off completely, it can cause the steering tie rod to disconnect from the steering knuckle. This is a risk factor and increases the possibility of a crash, as the driver would lose the ability to turn the steering wheel and steer the vehicle safely. Checking, replacing the nut with an updated and improved one, as well as tightening it firmly according to the correct specifications solves this problem. Number 7. Oil leak from the transfer case or differential. Some 2019 to 2024 all-wheel drive models are prone to develop an oil leak in the transfer case due to a manufacturing error in the seal of the transmission shaft on the passenger side. If the seal fails, the transfer case could lose oil and cause lubrication problems in the gears of the transfer case. This is a risk factor and increases the possibility of a crash if the vehicle loses traction on the wheels when driving on the road. Replacing the damaged seal with a new and improved one that meets the quality specifications solves this problem. Number 8. Steering control problems. Some 2024 models were recalled in the US due to an error on the assembly line that could cause the bolts that connect the power steering unit to the rack and pinion to loosen over time. This poses a safety risk and increases the likelihood of a crash if the steering system locks up or disconnects, by preventing the driver from turning the wheel and driving safely. The repair consisted in tightening the bolts to the correct specifications, and, if necessary, replacing the steering system with a new unit that meets the quality specifications. Number 9. Door lock failure. Some 2020 to 2024 models are prone to experience a failure in the door lock actuator, causing the door not to open, or the door lock to get stuck. The lock can still be moved manually and the door can be opened from the inside. To solve this problem, it is necessary to replace the defective actuator with a new updated part that meets the quality specifications. Number 10. Smart key failure. Some 2023 and 2024 models equipped with an alarm system or smart key may experience a smart key recognition failure. This can occur when other vehicles with devices with similar frequencies are nearby, causing the vehicle to not start or an alert signal to appear on the instrument panel. This problem occurs intermittently and can be resolved by ensuring that the smart key is not near multiple smart keys or mobile devices or appliances that can emit a frequency. Removing or turning off devices that are inside the vehicle will often solve this problem. Those are 10 common problems that 6th-generation Nissan Altima vehicles are prone to experience.